Professor. Our next guest is Rabbi Andy Sachs. Rav Andy is the head of the Rabbinical Assembly of the Masorti Conservative Movement in Israel, and he's up in arms about the future of egalitarian prayer at the Western Wall in Jerusalem and the right of all Jews to pray or daven at the holy site in their own way.
Hello, Professor Dershowitz. I want to thank you for your help with regard to bringing over those Jews from Uganda and Venezuela. The Uganda Jews have arrived and they're studying at the conservative yeshiva, and the Venezuelans are due to arrive in just a few weeks. I'm sure you know that there was a compromise made after the riots in 1999 to allow for egalitarian davening at the southern section of the Kotel known as Rabbatz and Zarch, or Ezrat Yisrael. There's also a continued struggle of women of the wall, and the major group has agreed to daven in that egalitarian area. There was also an agreement reached between the government and those other parties, the Reform Movement, the Conservative Movement, Women of the Wall, and others, that there be a permanent section, Ezrat Yisrael, for those who choose egalitarian davening or to daven in keeping with their own customs. And yet that agreement has not been applied. Yesterday, in a surprising attack of aggressiveness, the former Chief Rabbi of Israel, Rav Amar, came with his minions and set up a machitza in the one area where a machitza is not acceptable and took it over with a group of yeshiva students, thus preventing those who believe in an egalitarian approach from davening in keeping with their custom. I would like to know your view on how such things should be handled. Pirkei Avot, Ethics of the Father, tells us that the person who says what's mine is mine and what's yours is mine is considered to be a rasha, an evil person. How do you react to the actions of those who feel that not only should the traditional section of the Kotel be in keeping with Orthodox tradition, but so too the egalitarian section set up for others? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rabbi Sachs, and thank you for your great work on behalf of all Jews around the world. Look, Judaism is too important to be left to the rabbis, and it's certainly too important to be left to one small group of rabbis. Judaism belongs to all of us, and the rule of law belongs to all of us. And what the rabbis did to the women of the wall is a crime, is illegal, and they should be arrested and prosecuted for that. Now, I'm biased here. My wife and daughter are members of Women of the Wall. We have the little tambourine that we proudly display. And when we go to Israel, we daven at the egalitarian part of the Kotel. That should be something that's available to all of us. The most important thing is the rule of law has to be obeyed. And the rule of law has set aside a portion of the Kotel for egalitarian prayer. Orthodox Jews have the right to pray in their own space. I would never try to interfere with that, nor would I try to take away the main part of the Kotel from Orthodox Jews, although that's obviously subject to controversy and dispute. But surely setting aside one small portion of the wall for egalitarian service of the kind that I participate in, many very good Jews participate in, is very important. And the courts have to enforce these rules. And, you know, it's an act of civil disobedience when Haredi Jews or other Jews try to prevent the law from being carried out, and they just can't be allowed to do that. If they want to engage in civil disobedience, then they have to take the consequences of that, which means going to prison and serving their time. But the rule of law has to be obeyed, and the police have to enforce the rule of law to allow people of every stripe of Judaism to participate in prayer services. What good does it do to turn people off from Judaism, from prayer? If you're an Orthodox Jew, don't you want people to participate in prayer even on their own terms? It just makes no sense to me to think that one group of Jews has a monopoly on the way Judaism is practiced, where Judaism is practiced, and how Judaism is practiced. So let's work together to allow Jews to practice Judaism in any way they choose to. And let's remember, Judaism has changed so much over the centuries. Yes, it has had a stable force as well, but it has changed in response to changing realities. And the changing reality today is women are playing a much more important role than ever in promoting Judaism, and that's a very, very good thing.